Hello, I'm Chris Pajak from TheRedmen TV. That's easy, that's Keita. We've waited for him for over a year now. He's come in 1st of July, he's played in loads of pre-season games, he's looked good, but he's also looked a little bit shackled. Having watched him and been anticipating his arrival for a year, of course it's going to be this man. We watched him tear up the Bundesliga, we watched him get red cards for fun over there last season, but we also saw him get goals, we also saw him get assists, and we also saw what he could bring to Liverpool's midfield. And I think having watched him for RB Leipzig last season, I was really excited, and I'm really excited to see how Liverpool's midfield evolves. We've seen it in one game against West Ham United so far, and we've obviously seen it in pre-season games, but I don't think people realise just how much the signings of like Keita and Fabinho could alter the way that Liverpool play. I mean, you know, they're almost like the modern number 8, and we've actually seen it in Chelsea's last couple of games under Sarri, the way that Kante's been taken off the leash a little bit, and you know, last couple of years he's been very much a defensive midfielder, but with Jorginho playing there, he's been afforded that little bit of freedom to go further up the pitch, and I think Naby Keita is going to be a very similar player to this new role that N'Golo Kante's found himself in. First and foremost, I would like a title challenge. You know, I think we've managed to put together the squad. Jurgen Klopp's done a good job over the last sort of 3 seasons in building and evolving this Liverpool side, and you can see by the signings that we made and the way in which we made those signings that we mean business. I think, you know, we got to the Champions League final last season. It obviously ended in disappointment and heartbreak, but it looks like everybody's come back stronger, and they've come back wanting to right the wrongs of last season. And you know, the signings that we've made have all been, I think, top drawer. I think, you know, certainly we're going to find out in the fullness of time whether they actually make the difference or not, but at least we've identified the issues, and I think it's as a fan, that's the most important thing for me. So many times we've come back from the summer and you've gone, Liverpool still need this, or Liverpool still need that, and this time you've gone, well, we needed a goalkeeper, we've signed that, we needed some depth for our midfield, we've done that as well. And you know what, I think this is the first time in a long time that I've got belief in this Liverpool side that we can challenge. Now, I think Manchester City are an extraordinary side, probably the best that I saw over the course of one season last season in the Premier League. It's going to be difficult. If they have another 100-point season, I don't think Liverpool can do it, but if they drop off 10 points, I think we've got a chance. Ultimately, it's a 25-point gap from last season to Manchester City. If we can close that down to 10 or 5, something like that, then I'd be really happy, and I'd really like a cup. It's been far too long for Liverpool to go without a trophy, so certainly a cup and another good run in the Champions League, because we made some memories last season that I'll never ever forget. First of all, you know, disappointment, heartbreak, anger, they were the first things. What's he done? This guy's crap, all that stuff. And then it comes out that he's had concussion, and I don't buy. Some people are saying that, you know, the doctors have just made that up. I don't buy that. I don't see why a doctor in America would give or put his reputation on the line for somebody, or a footballer from another continent, or a club from another continent, or anything like that. You wouldn't do that. If he's got concussion, he's got concussion. It's very easy to tell nowadays, I think, with everything that they can do behind the scenes. And the amazing thing was, as soon as pre-season started, he got some of the biggest applauses throughout pre-season. You know, I went to most of the pre-season games. I went to every one apart from the American ones, actually. And Paul went to them, and the reaction was the same wherever you went around the world. It was as soon as you put that shirt on, we support him. Now we can be unhappy that he's still at the club, but as soon as he puts that shirt and he takes the field, ultimately we do our job, and that is to support the team. I'm glad that we've signed Alisson, I really truly am. But if Loris Karius is in for a stint in goal because of an injury, touch wood that doesn't happen to Alisson, and he'll get the same support that every other player on the pitch gets. That's just the way that we are. I think the place where we've got least depth, I suppose, would be at centre-back. Obviously, we've got Virgil van Dijk. Most people will think that Lovren's a liability. I think he's a liability for a couple of moments every year. I actually think his general game is very, very good. I'd love it I'd love him to stop having those mad moments, but that just seems to be part of his makeup. He's an aggressive defender, so sometimes that happens, most notably last season against Tottenham and against Manchester United. But on the most part, since he signed for us, he's improved every year. The lad's got talent, he's got the physicality, it's just whether he can keep focused for an entire 90 minutes. Behind him, Joel Matip's very, very injury prone and very passive for a centre-back. Joe Gomez is a youngster learning his trade who got most of his minutes at right back last season, and a couple of years ago before his big injury got most of his minutes at left back, so I'm interested to see his development. And then, you know, going back to Dejan Lovren, he tends to be injured quite a bit as well, so it's time for Joe Gomez to step up this season, I think, although I do think Dejan Lovren will be the #1 partner. Most Liverpool fans will tell you that we need somebody at that right centre-half position, and I think I'd tend to agree. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think something like a 2-1. Yeah, it's always a tough game, and those Monday night games down at Palace, the atmosphere is always absolutely booming, and it's so intimidating the ground when it gets rocking. Obviously we did really well there last time to get, I think it was an 84th minute winner from Salah, something like that, but it's a tough place to go to, and I respect the crowd down there, I respect the fans down there, because I know that they can create an atmosphere just like us at Anfield when we bring our A game. Hopefully Liverpool get the victory. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for asking for my 2 cents worth on Liverpool Football Club.